Am I live? Am I live? Just heard myself, so yes, I am. We're live! Hey, finally. Finally. Oh, sorry about that. Oof. Had some issues, some technical issues there. How's everyone doing? Hey! It's been a while. Oh, how's it going, guys? How's it going? Hope you're well. Hope you're well over the last couple of weeks. F1 problems, got problems with the OBS, yeah. But FP2 is underway, and we went live just in time for drivers to get out on track. And it's an important session, guys, if you're just tuning in. Apologies I couldn't make FP1. Yeah, work commitments, so wishful thinking, really, when I put that FP1 session up. But hey-ho, you never know. But yes, FP2, the most representative session of the weekend before we get into qualifying tomorrow and the race on Sunday, because it's in the evening. It's in the evening. So yes, the lights are on, and well, the temperature you expect to be similar to what it's going to be tomorrow evening for those in Singapore, and of course on Sunday as well. So evening, Alan, good to see you, mates. Is there any chance of rain right now? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Doesn't look like it's cloudy there. So I mean, I've seen, as I said, I looked in my preview, I've seen conflicting weather reports. Some said it was going to rain, some said it wasn't. So, yeah. I'm very well, thank you, Matthew. Yeah, very well. Fernando tops FP1. Yeah, I did see that. I did see. Think we might see some long runs instead of push laps? No, I think we'll see a mixture of both. I think we will see push laps in this session because, it's, as I said, it's the only representative session. It's the only nighttime session between now and qualifying tomorrow and the race on Sunday. So wasn't too much happening in F1. No, they never look, to be honest, there never really is too much that happens in practice. But obviously with the streams, it's all about, it gives us an opportunity to go live and get into the swing of things, looking forward to the weekend ahead and have an opportunity to just sit back, relax and chill. So pretty sad about Roscoe. Yeah, it was sad. Albon's brakes were flaming. They were indeed. I did catch that. I did have it on in the TV coverage in the background while I was working. So you tried to watch it on your local channel, but they pushed the time back to 12:30 a.m. local time, Andy. Oh, that sucks. That's not great. So they're going to miss half of... They're only going to show half an hour of practice. Is that like their thing? Very odd. Very odd. I'm very well, though. Thank you, guys. Yes, so a bit of news for you. I was just not... If you weren't around last weekend for when I informed you. A bit of bad news, unfortunately. For a good reason. I won't be doing any sessions tomorrow. Any coverage. I will be here for Sunday. The race stream has already been set up. However, the reason for that is because... Good reason. It's my daughter. It's mini Stuffey's, baby Stuffey's first birthday tomorrow. So, of course, she takes priority. We have a first... I guess you could call it a party, but more so just like a gathering of friends and family tomorrow. So, yeah, that's taking priority, understandably. 1 year old, Jesus, where is that 12 months just gone? Absolutely unbelievable. Flown by. So, yeah, I'll be doing and focusing my time and attention on that tomorrow. So, yeah, we'll be live an hour before the race goes. Obviously, the race gets underway on Sunday. So, I will be around for the race coverage. Do not fear, guys. But tomorrow... Yes, no qualifying or FP3 coverage from myself. Thanks, guys. Thanks, yeah. She's currently having an afternoon nap, but yeah, she's crawling now, and it won't be long till she's absolutely running around and running me and the missus. She's already running me and the missus ragged, to be fair. Have to have eyes in the back of her head already, but yeah. Thanks, guys. But I'll be here. I'll definitely be here, of course, on Sunday. And I may go... I've got myself going live an hour before it begins. But I may go live even before that so that we can discuss qualifying and so forth. How do I think Williams will do this weekend, Madeline? I think... I mean, I didn't see where they were. Sainz was quite high up, I think he was. I think they'll do okay here. I think they will. I think they'll probably fight Aston Martin. something that I did pick up on, guys. So you Max Verstappen fans, those of you who are looking for Max Verstappen to become involved in this championship, there is some good news. There is some good news. And the reason there's good news is because multiple sections and multiple corners of this circuit have been relayed. There is brand new surface, brand new tarmac. And we have seen throughout this season, even on this, street circuits this year, where if there has been a relayed surface, it means that there will be not a lot of tyre deg, tyre temp issues. And we've seen throughout this season where negative degradation, where the tyre just gets quicker and quicker as it gets older, the lap times get quicker and quicker. We've seen that throughout this season. And where has Max Verstappen dominated or been at least fighting at the front and been competitive with the McLarens? At circuits where there's been no worry about tyre degradation, and specifically those that have had relayed surfaces. So yes, could play into Max's hands here this weekend with that. So that was a bit of insight that I picked up on earlier on, actually. Will I cover the race Sunday? Of course I will be. Of course I will be. Can I put the sectors on the screen? I'm not going to put sectors on the screen. It just clutters things up a bit, Lean. You can see sectors. You can see the sector times there. So that's all that you need to keep an eye on. If someone goes green, of course, they're going quicker than their previous best. And if they're going purple, then they're going quickest out of anyone. And the quickest lap time at the moment is Antonelli, who is looking to capitalise on a good P4 last time out at Baku. You enjoy the first baby, and I'll be there for Sunday. Thanks, Daisy. But it's interesting. I mean, this is probably the first time, I think, we're going to have come to a calendar, to a track where we have had a high downforce setup on a circuit where the track surface has been relayed and the tyre deg might not be that much of an issue. So I'm intrigued to see how Max will perform that Red Bull, because we know that that's where it has been not weakest, but it's been second best to the McLarens quite comfortably. This is the sort of setup, the sort of track where the McLarens are dominant, as they have been for this season. And the Red Bull has just been off that pace. But the majority of that pace issue has been the looking after of those tyres, the tyre management. And, well, if that's negated, then yes, with the improvements that the Red Bull has definitely had, and they seem a bit more confident heading to this weekend than they did earlier on in the season at a circuit of this type. Red Bull, yeah, and Max could be fighting it up there. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, we are. A very windy South Africa. It's not very nice here either, to be fair. Very gloomy, very typical October day out in the UK at the moment as Oscar goes into P1. He's already had a brush with the barrier earlier on. I did see that. So I imagine there's going to be a few touches of the barrier this weekend, as Norris has gone fastest in the first and second sector. Hamilton's going to win this Grand Prix for Roscoe. I mean, he can try his best, but I think with respect to the Ferrari, it's not going to be able to hold a candle to the McLarens over a race distance. So, hey, Amo. And click right now, because follow you for the rest of the season. I had trouble trying to get to me this morning. Didn't realise I'd have to go into your channel. Yeah, sorry, Anthony. It's I had issues starting the stream up this afternoon, and this morning I had to cancel the stream. I think that's actually where the issue was that the stream key was the same. It was a duplicate for FP2 and FP1, and it actually set me live to the FP1 session, which I had set to private. Obviously, I've deleted it now because I couldn't go live earlier. So no, Luke, I think if you've got notifications turned on for next week. Oh, there's a yellow flag. Antonelli briefly off there. Antonelli briefly off. Did he hit the wall? Or was he just letting Gabriel Bort... Or was that Bortoletto just letting him by? Let's have a look. Just watching. Oh, big lock up from Antonelli. Yeah, he had to take to the escape road and spun it round very quickly. Good car control, but yeah, big lock up for him there. You ended up crashing one of them and giving... Oh, my God. I think maybe Ferrari is the second fastest car overall. It's too early to tell. It is too early to tell. Look, what we have seen in previous is that the Ferraris do generally tend to do low fuel runs or at least turn their engine up sooner in the weekend than that of McLaren and the Red Bull, and even the Mercedes. So yeah, that is maybe a bit indicative of what we saw of Charles Leclerc earlier. But there's something to remember as well. Obviously, it's a very different car to last year, but Charles Leclerc arguably could have been on pole position last year. Yes, the McLarens are very quick, but they had tyre temp issues. They had tyre blanket issues last year, which is why Carlos Sainz crashed out of the last corner. He had to really slow down, didn't he? And I think was it Lando through, or was it Max through? I can't remember which one it was. And he had no temps in his tyres, crashed out the last corner. Charles also had no temperature in his tyres when he came out of the pits as well, and really struggled there, and he ended up qualifying 9th when really he had the car to be mixing it with at least Max, maybe push Norris, I'm not sure, but at least push him over a single lap. So Charles does like it here. Charles is good here, and we know Charles is brave when it comes to street circuits. So we'll see how he fares. And as I've said before as well, I said in the preview, this is a track where it has been a bogey track for the dominating teams. Now, I don't expect that to be the case for McLaren, but we have seen, because of how bumpy this circuit can be, that means that the ride height has to be raised somewhat to accommodate those bumps, because that's why we see the great shots of the cars sparking. And because of that, it means that a team who's already running their ride height a bit higher anyway, i.e. Ferrari, because of the issues they've got with disqualifications and so forth with the plank wear, that brings the other teams up to their performance, and it gives them more of an opportunity. So that's my theory for this weekend. Whether that is the case because of the amount of quite considerable relay tarmac that we have here this weekend, we'll see, especially once we see some proper push laps later on in this session, no doubt. Will the heat hinder Mercedes, Addison? Possibly, yes. Yes, because we know that the heat is something the Mercedes car doesn't like at all. Ferrari could have a car as quick as McLaren's and will still find a way to bend themselves. Yeah. Hey, DCR, give you some office what's happened. Anything interesting? Nothing as of yet. No, we had a brief yellow flag there for Kimi Antonelli. Drivers out there doing their long runs, no doubt, at the moment on the medium compound tyre. So it is a one-stop. Unless there's carnage, it is always a standard one-stop here, guys. Unfortunately, that's why generally Singapore, we need some intermittent weather. We need some rain. We need some carnage. Something of the like to occur. Someone in the barriers or safety cars, because otherwise, yeah, Singapore can be a bit of a damp squib. So hopefully that's not the case here this weekend. But yeah, it's normally a medium to hard, quite simple, really. Although you still do have to look after your rear temps, in particular out of turn 3. Turn 3 is arguably the most important corner on the circuit, because turn 3 and turn 5, if you're trying to line up an overtake down into turn 7 and you really need to be within under half a second out of turn 5 to have an opportunity. And really, it's turn 3. Turn 5 isn't that much of a difficult corner. It's all about turn 3. It's a lot tighter. You want those rear tyres to be in good shape. And if you can manage them and you've got that advantage on those rears over the guy ahead, then you can slipstream past. But yeah, we know that it's tricky to overtake really anywhere else here unless there is a driver error. The signal here is so bad you can't even see who's on pole. Oh, try refreshing. Can I display the sectors, or can anyone tell you the sector turn to turn? I'm not going to display the sectors. I mean, you can see the sector times there, really. That's all you really need to see. But yeah, sector 1 is from obviously the start-finish line all the way around to, I believe, turn 8, I think it is, or turn 9. And then sector 2 is all the way to, I think, turn 14. And then that's the last sector, right, just out of turn 15. As we're starting to see some quick purple sectors being put down here. Fernando Alonso, I did say Aston Martins would be quick here this weekend. Maybe they've turned their engines up quite early as well. But yeah, definitely does look to be close with the Aston Martin of Alonso and Carlos Sainz at the moment. So Carlos Sainz looking to capitalise on to see if he can capitalise on that podium last time out at Baku, as Norris going purple in the first and second sector. So you just saw there the second sector time pop up. So that means that second sector line is just before turn 14. Where's the bridge? The bridge is turn 16 and 17, but I don't think they go Actually, I don't think they go under the bridge anymore. I think that actual bridge has been removed and kept out. It used to be around turn 14, in between turn 14 and 15, that you used to go in under the bridge, whereas now I think turn 16, 17 is technically a gantry over there, but it's not the proper bridge, I think. The bridge that you're referring to. Should I get Max Russell in place of Piastri and Leclerc in F1 Fantasy and Lawson in place of Behrman? I would probably go for Lawson in place of Behrman at the moment, just on the run of form and because the RB does look a pretty well-balanced car at the moment. And you said, should you get Max and Russell in place of Piastri and Leclerc? Oh, I don't know, to be honest with you. Oh, it's a yellow. George Russell is off. George Russell is off, and well, I think there is runoff here. Not too much runoff, and well, it's a double yellow, so that definitely means that George has made contact, I think, or has definitely come to a standstill. We were just talking about George Russell. Should you add him into your fantasy? Well, maybe you want to hold off just after maybe seeing this. He's thankfully not too far from the pit lane, but the fact it's a double yellow, I think, does indicate that he has definitely gone into the barrier. Oh, yeah, he has indeed. Wow, George Russell has lost his front wing entirely. And what has he done there? He's gone straight on into the barriers. The car is intact. I say it's intact, like it's movable. He's gone into the pit lane. But yes, George, big lock-up for him, I think. Straight into the barriers, and he's lost his front wing entirely. Any damage to the floor there? Looks like there's no damage to the floor that I can see visually, unless there has been some debris that has gone underneath his car. The front wing is off of the track, so thankfully that yellow flag has been removed pretty swiftly. But waiting to see a replay of exactly what has occurred. He's lucky as well that... Oh, it's a red flag. Wow, okay, so red flag. Hopefully this won't be too long of a red flag. It is no doubt just to pick up that front wing and any pieces of debris that he's brought out onto turn 17 there, turn 16 and 17. But yeah, he's definitely locked up and gone straight into the barrier. Still yet to see a replay of exactly what occurred, but not good for George Russell there. And this is what happens at Singapore. So the front tyres here take... The front tyres don't get up to temperature. That's why we see so many lockups. It's similar to Baku to an extent. The front tyres, there's no high-loaded corner, fast, high-loaded, medium to high-speed corners here, other than the last corner, turn 18. So I was watching a replay as... Oh, he lost the rear. Oh, wow. Did he have rear lock-in into turn 16, or did he touch the wall? Just watching it now. He just had rear lock-in, rear instability of the car as he went into the corner, braking a bit too late. And the rear snapped on him, and he went straight into the barrier, face head on. So he's okay. He's been asked if he's all right, and he said, yeah, that was weird. Yeah. So, yeah, lost the rear there. The rear's locked up, so either braked a little bit too late. Maybe he had the brake balance a bit too far to the rear. So, yeah, we've seen... I saw in FP1 there was a few moments of drivers locking up the rears. But yeah, that could be also temperature as well, lack of temperature in those brakes and those tyres. But as we were saying, the fronts in particular, unlike George there where he locked the front, it was the rear that actually locked. The fronts, yeah, there's only really a couple of corners here where you can get that up, get those tyres up to temperature. So that's why we have seen in the past a few big moments through the last corner. Most recently, Carlos Sainz and Lance Stroll, if you remember in qualifying. So. But yes, red flag just at the moment. Hopefully won't be for very long. We have a red flag for George Russell just losing the car there, under braking into turn 16. He went head on into the Tech Pro barriers into turn 17 and lost his front wing, so it shouldn't be too long. George is still sick. He's really going to suffer this weekend. Saw Yuki is wearing it. Yeah, they're all wearing cooling vests this weekend, guys. So if you remember from Qatar a couple of years ago, Qatar, I think they call it. It's actually pronounced Qatar. But when the temperatures were absolutely ridiculous and the drivers were out on their feet when it came to the end of that race, a rule was implemented, a heat rule. So for the first time in F1 history, that excessive heat rule warning has been put in place, which means that drivers have to wear FIA approved cooling kits. So you'll see some TV images or some online images of them wearing what looks like a vest, but it's got pipe work around it, around the front and the rear of their back, so the back and front of their chest. So that's to ensure that obviously they stay cool and keep the body temperature down, as the humidity is 78% here. Singapore is always, until we had Qatar added to the calendar, this Singapore was always the hardest track on the body. I think they say that on average they can lose up to 8 kilograms of water weight throughout a race here at Singapore. That is an obscene amount, and of course they don't normally want to drink the water either, so there's worries of dehydration, understandably, because the water gets really hot when they're in the car, so they're drinking like hot water, which is not nice. Anyone drunk hot water out the tap. So should you bet there to be a red flag during the race? I mean, it wouldn't be a bad bet, but you probably won't get good odds, to be honest with you. During the race, could I please make sure that we can see all the tyre history? I tend to keep one column hidden. I can show a couple of columns. I don't just show the one now. I do try and show a couple, but I can't show all of them because really showing the first pit stop isn't really that relevant. If they've made 3 pit stops or 4 pit stops already, you know. The tyre that they started on isn't essential. It's more so the 2 columns in particular. Are they all wearing them? I thought it was optional rather than mandated. Old school guys might want to opt out. I think it's mandated. Every time when it's Singapore, you always remember George Russell having a heat stroke. Yeah, he had that panic attack as well, didn't he? As a result of that. That was worrying to see when you saw that on Drive to Survive. But I guess it's also good for fans to see, to realise, wow, like that's the toll it takes on their bodies. And people kind of take it for granted, so. Yeah, all could see that. Yeah, I had some issues with the stream going live, so that's probably why the notification didn't ping out to you. But thanks everyone for tuning in. As always, good to see you all. Thanks, Stephen. Good to see you. You think you heard, Nguyen, someone that once those cooling vests broke, which happens in NASCAR, you would get cooked in those. I don't know, to be fair. I don't know the tech behind it. Just looks like a simple thing, really, where they've just got like pipes probably running cold fluid through them. Oh, they have to be suited for cooling, but they don't have to use it. Fair enough. Wasn't a cooling vest ineffective in the past, and that's why they weren't implemented? Well, I imagine, like anything, the tech's probably improved since then. But we do have, unfortunately, a halt to proceedings here because of the red flag earlier on. But it's currently just showing a double yellow, so I think it is green flag. I think they can get back underway out there. It just says, it doesn't actually say green flag yet. We had red flag, track clear, but they're still saying there's a yellow, double yellow in turn 16 and 17 where George Russell just went off into the barrier. So, yeah, waiting to see at the moment. Hey, Dusko, good to see you. Just George Russell going straight off into the barrier. You have a 1 year badge now, Rev. Hey, welcome, buddy. 78 humidity. It was actually 80% humidity when this session started, so it's actually dropped a couple of percent. Yeah, maybe it is optional. Maybe it is. You guys probably know more than I do at this moment in time. I'll have a look at the FIA document. Session will resume at 29 minutes past. There we go. So that is 4 minutes. 3 minutes. What? That's quite a long time, to be fair. Normally it's only like a couple of minutes. Where is that FIA document? Normally they post it. I swear I saw it posted. Can't see it for some reason. Pablo, drivers have to pre-hydrate because you can only replace about 1 litre of water per hour. So they would all force water into their bodies prior to getting in the car to extreme loss. Yeah, that's what you would do. George did crash, yeah, but it was only front wing damage. So I'm watching TV images now, and they are intensively looking at the front of his car to ensure that there's no further damage. But I imagine he'll probably be able to get back out there. But It was a bit worrying, the rear of the car stepping out like as it did. So, will Alpine do a crash gate with Gasly and Colapinto? No, they will not, because they don't have a car, for one, that even under the same scenario as what happened back in 2008, they don't have a car that would be suitable to win the race, even at Singapore. So, yeah, I think what we're going to see, guys, is after this green flag is thrown and we get back underway here in this session, I think we're going to see drivers straight out on the softs. So I think the long runs there have been interrupted, and we are going to get drivers straight out on those performance laps, as it is the only representative session, FP2, as it is at most race weekends, of course, unless it's like a sprint race weekend, because it is held in the same time of day as what qualifying and the race is on Sunday. So especially here at a night race as well in the evening, it is definitely most representative, of course, with the sun going down and so forth. So yeah, 28 degree air temperature, 32 degree track temperature, but 77% humidity, so very high. You heard that Christian maybe yesterday or today left Red Bull fully. I wonder what was left this whole time. Yeah, he left a couple of weeks ago, I think it was now. What was it, a 50 million to 80 million? I don't know what the figures were. I think the consensus was it was over a 50 million pound payout for the rest of his contract. So yeah, he's now no longer at Red Bull entirely, and he's free to do what he wants. I don't believe there's any gardening leave or anything like that he has to adhere to, because he was released from his contract. So yeah, who knows? There's rumours he's going to go to Aston. There's rumours he might set up his own team. I don't know. I reckon he'll probably take a little bit of time out of the sport, enjoy the time with his family or whatever, and then I think someone like him, motorsport is his life, and I think he'll be back in the sport probably at some point. In what capacity? Not entirely sure. Did it rain? No rain yet. No, it hasn't rained yet. It's up to 4 kilograms in fluid loss here. I think 8 kilograms would be extreme. The type of loss boxers can do to make weight, which results in severe hydration. They wouldn't drive. I'm just going from what I think I saw previous quotes from some drivers, was they're saying up to 8 kilograms. So maybe up to 8. So maybe on the extreme side of things, they have lost 8 in the past. But maybe 8 isn't the average or the usual. So imagine a tax on that. No, and yeah, especially living here in the UK, because he lives in, was it Oxfordshire in the UK? So yeah, he definitely will be paying tax on that. And with obviously Red Bull Racing being a UK limited company as well. So thank you, Trudy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, so apologies, guys, if you're just tuning in. Wasn't able to make FP1, and I do apologise. I will not be able to make tomorrow either for any session, as it is my daughter's first birthday. So I'm sure you can appreciate where my priorities lie tomorrow, spending time with the family. We're having a little sort of celebration for her. But I will be back on Sunday, of course, for the race. So yes, as predicted, with only half an hour remaining of this FP2 session, we do have drivers going out there on the soft compound tyre. Lewis Hamilton still out on the mediums, though. So 2 Ferraris still out on the mediums, but we have Behrman and we have Haas out there on the softs, Lawson on the softs, Gasly. So yeah, we're seeing some soft runners now. When George had his panic attack, he lost 4 kg. Oof. Could there be a way to redesign helmets for more heat venting but retaining safety standards? I don't think so, without there being an addition of like an air intake, or a cooling intake. So if you look at some sports car racing in particular, I think NASCAR as well, they have an air intake or like a cooling intake, which when they get in the car is plugged into their helmets. I think that's what it's for anyway. I can't imagine what else it's for. I think with F1, yeah, I don't think it's really feasible. And I think also as well, you're talking only really 2 circuits in the year where this is the case. They've moved Qatar now to later on in the year, so it's more closer into their winter. So even though it's still hot there, it's not the extreme temperatures that we saw last time out. And of course, that race was a unique scenario as well, where they had to do literally 50 odd qualifying laps, 60, however many. The whole race was all qualifying laps because they were mandated to make three pit stops. So there was no tyre management at all. So, yeah, at a circuit where there's lots of high-speed corners, medium to high-speed corners, none of it is really low speed. There's no break for the drivers, really, when it comes to just the amount of pressure and forces that they receive in the car. So, yeah, I think for the sake of just 2 races a year, maybe even 1 now, where we're going to get that heat warning, it's not really... It's kind of something that doesn't really need it, to be honest. Thanks, Ram. Hey, it's my daughter's, first birthday tomorrow. First. So... Thanks, JC. Yeah, I'll put a post up as well. I will put a post up on the community so that people are aware. Of course, I do have the stream for the race set up already on Sunday. So, yeah, you can hop on over there, open that and keep that saved. Bookmark it for Sunday. We'll be live, of course, always an hour before the race begins. I may even go live a bit earlier to discuss what happens in qualifying. After everything's all said and done, maybe tomorrow I'll do a quick video on my thoughts on qualifying so that you guys get that prior to the race on Sunday. So Lewis Hamilton fastest at the moment at 31.4. Let's see drivers, a lot of drivers on softs at the moment. So we're going to get some push laps here. Of course, we want to see how the McLarens can do. How can Max Verstappen fare? Fernando Alonso as well, who's been very quick recently. He topped FP1 at 26.9 for him. Expect him to go well here, where of course the Aston Martin strength is in the downforce, high downforce dependent circuits. So the likes of Baku, the likes of Monza were always going to be circuits where they struggled at. All their updates have been focused at adding downforce to that racing green car. As Sainz goes third fastest, only third fastest, just behind Lewis Hamilton on the set of mediums. That's not a bad time from Hamilton on the mediums, to be fair. But let's keep an eye on Norris, shall we? Who is on that flying lap. Max Verstappen about to start his flying lap as well. So we're going to very quickly, in quick succession, get Norris, Piastri and Verstappen set lap times here. But let's keep an eye on Alonso as a yellow, as Stroll has gone off there. Is he going to get... Unbelievable. It's a double yellow, and Alonso was looking to set the fastest lap of this session with purple in the first and second sector. His own teammate has just brought out a yellow, a potential double yellow, in turn 16. And we also have pit lane closed as Liam Lawson has come to a halt in the last corner, or in the pit lane. All right, it's all happening here. What has happened to Liam Lawson? No, it's Liam Lawson, sorry. It's not Lance Stroll. Oh, my goodness. Liam Lawson has lost... What's happened there? He's lost the front right tyre entirely. Liam Lawson has lost his front right tyre. The underside of the car is on fire, ladies and gentlemen. He's actually got flames on the underside of his car. We have another red flag here, but the pit lane is currently closed due to Liam Lawson losing the whole front right tyre. I'm not entirely sure what's happened. So I apologise to Lance Stroll. But maybe he's hit the barrier. Maybe he's clipped the wall and the tyre... I mean, it's very odd. He's got no damage to his car other than the tyre not being on the right front. That's very odd. It's very odd. Not entirely sure. So, yeah, thankfully the car has now been put out. There is no longer... But I'm waiting to see a replay of exactly what has occurred with Liam Lawson. And oh no, there is indeed damage to the he's hit the wall. Okay, so he's hit the wall. There is indeed debris out there on circuit. As I can see, it's out of the last corner, the exact wall where we saw Oscar Piastri hit earlier on. But a real shame for Fernando Alonso, as he was going fastest there. Oh no, the pit lane is now open. They can just navigate their way around Liam Lawson. But Antonelli, look, interestingly, was going quite nicely there. Norris wasn't purple in the first sector or the second, interestingly. That's interesting, but still yet to see exactly how Liam Lawson hit the wall there. Did he have a twitch? Did he just drive into it? What happened? Here we go. So, replay. Liam Lawson, as he's heading down into the last couple of corners here, makes his way into turn 16, navigates that absolutely fine, navigates his way... Oh, the rear. Yeah, the rear stepped out on him on the exit of turn 17. So as he's got on power, the rear has stepped out and the right rear actually touches touches the wall first, and then the front end whips back in. So that's what's happened there, and he's also fortunate that he was able to be so close to the pit lane there. But oh my goodness, I mean, it almost looks like there's lots of dirt out there on circuit. That's interesting. Doesn't look like the last couple of corners are. I hit the wall, bro. That's what Lawson says on the radio. But probably just got too on a push lap there. Not got the grip, just got a bit too heavy on the loud pedal, to be honest. So the car was only set on fire because it was obviously the friction of the underside of the car. So no, the flames went out very quickly, to be fair. I thought it was to do with the brakes, but yeah. It wasn't the rear lock in there, to be fair, Andrew. That was on throttle, so it was out of the exit of turn 17. So it's definitely, as he's got on the loud pedal, the rears just aren't. He's just got on throttle too much, probably. Or he hasn't got those tyres in the right temperature, or at the end of a push lap there. Was he on the end of a push lap? Yeah, he was. So on the end of a push lap, maybe those softs are just screaming at him a little bit. The rears, they're starting to lose a bit of grip, and it just wasn't there for him. But interestingly, when you saw the slow-mo of him go through the last corner, or turn 17, there was lots of like dust and dirt that was thrown up. Like the track doesn't look clean at all through that section, turn 16 and turn 17. So I'm not sure where that's come from. I mean, the wind is only 5 kilometers an hour, but yeah, it's definitely not a clean track surface at the moment, I would say. Imagine being so bad that people assume you've crashed instead of someone else. Well, in my defense, and I'm having a go at Stroll here, I didn't assume that. It was just the yellow was thrown. The yellow came out as Lance Stroll was literally in this corner and going slow. So I was like, oh, well, of course, put 2 and 2 together, join the dots up. It's actually Lance Stroll's fault. But no, it was indeed Liam Lawson. So want to cheer for Kimmy, but I don't want to jinx him. Yeah, keep it quiet. Oh, to be fair, look, he's clearly on the. He's clearly. This is good for Kimmy, because I feel like for a little while Kimmy has struggled to get up to speed on race weekends, and the fact that he seems to be on it on the Friday bodes very well for him. So we'll see if he can keep that going throughout the weekend. It's good to see that he's confident enough to push limits. Exactly, make it look. You'd rather do it here. On the Friday, then do it in qualifying tomorrow and the race on Sunday. And look, Isaac Hadjar, just because you have a crash or a moment on a Friday doesn't mean it's going to ruin your whole weekend. I think, look, he may look at the setup, he'll analyse that lap, that data, and he'll go, okay, how was the lap before that? How was the car been? Is that a cause of maybe the setup? Could we change something there to get the car in a way that I don't have that moment or that risk of having that moment at the last corner. But the actual entry into turn 16 and the exit of turn 17, like where his car was positioned, actually looked fine. I think if you look at telemetry, he probably just stamped his foot on the throttle a bit too aggressively, and the track surface as well just doesn't look like, as I said, doesn't look like it's the cleanest there and doesn't have the level of grip as per the amount of throttle that he was applying. So how many red flags or retirement will there be in the race on Sunday? Oh, I don't know. I think we're going to see a safety car. I think we will. I just don't see how there won't be a moment. I hope if there is a moment, it happens maybe. I think you kind of need a couple of safety cars at Singapore to make it interesting, to be honest with you. Otherwise, you do have the risk of it being quite a boring race. Don't know yet, Vil. We don't know the estimated time of resumption yet. We just got a notification there, as you can see. The recovery vehicle is in the pit lane entry, so they've only just got the pit lane. They've only just got the recovery vehicle to Lawson's car on the entry to the pit lane. So hopefully, I think this won't take long for them to remove the car. No doubt the marshals in the meantime have been cleaning up the last corner there. Of the debris from Lawson's car, so we should be getting underway again, hopefully very quickly, and we'll still see some push laps. So I'm from London, Stas. Well, just outside London is where I'm from. Why Verstappen is not going fast like Baku? Because he hasn't had an opportunity to do so yet. And this is a very different circuit. So this is why many have said if Max Verstappen can win here and be competitive with the McLarens, he bodes well for his challenge for the title for the remainder of the season. Because for most of this year, the Red Bull has undoubtedly been second best. There have been circuits where Max has been quicker. He's got more pole positions than both of the McLarens, and he has 4 race wins now this season. Where that Red Bull has been strong has been particularly at circuits where there is a low downforce setup required. So slow corners, negative degradation, no medium to high speed corners, and where basically you don't need a lot of downforce. And that is where the Red Bull has just been able to negate its issues with against the McLaren, and McLaren haven't been able to use their advantage of their high speed and medium speed cornering ability, how they're able to manage the temperatures in those tyres as well, so they're able to go quicker for so much longer. And at the low downforce tracks, the McLarens have never set themselves up for particularly top speed or a low downforce package. They've always been in the bottom 5 when it comes to the speed traps. That's not where their advantage is. So as we have seen this year, if Max can out-qualify the McLarens and stay ahead at the end of the first lap, then he's very, very difficult to overtake until those tyres start to degrade and you get those issues, which he has had at some circuits where the tyre management is key. But where tyre management isn't key, and where we've had low downforce setups in particular, he has been able to take full advantage of that car being in that small window of operation compared to the McLarens, and he's maximised it, pun intended. So Singapore is a complete opposite ends of the scale in relation to the setup requirement that you have at Baku and Monza. You're going from a low downforce package to a very high downforce package here. However, what we do have here is a track that, yes, falls into the strengths of the McLaren, but as I mentioned, and I didn't know this when I was doing my preview, is that the wild tyre degradation isn't so much an issue here. You do get blistering, and that's because of the temperature issues, the thermal degradation. So you have to look after the temperatures of the tyre. Particularly the rears, because it's all rear limited here. Turn 3, turn 5, 7. There's lots of right angled corners. And as we just saw Liam Lawson fare, the rears, maybe his rears just weren't in that right window for him with his throttle application out of turn 17. We can see those moments. And Max here, though, which I didn't know in the preview, is that there are lots of newly relayed sections of this track. Lots of corners have been relayed. So we've seen newly relayed surfaces and newly relayed tracks negate those issues that the drivers normally would see on the tyres of the temperatures peaking and degradation. And that's in particular where Max Verstappen has been strong. So it's an interesting combination here this weekend where Max is on a setup which we know that Red Bull is comfortably second best or not on par with the McLaren. But with the newly relayed surfaces or areas that have been resurfaced, I'm intrigued to see how that combination operates, and it could fall into Verstappen's hands, and he could be a lot closer to those McLarens here this weekend. I know, come on guys, surely they've got rid of everything now. Surely we can get at least 10 minutes or so of this session back underway. Who do I think will win a championship, Fowler? I don't know. I mean, I do think one of the McLarens. I don't think Max. I don't think there's enough circuits where that Red Bull is going to be strong enough, to be perfectly honest with you. But never say never, of course, with the McLarens fighting it out, and if any time that they're close out on circuit, anything can happen, you know. Opinion on Lindblad allegedly joining RB next season? I think he could probably do with having another year in F2, to be honest with you. I think he's starting to make a lot of big rookie mistakes. And I think he could probably do with plying his trade a bit more in F2 before stepping up to F1. There is talk, of course, of Alex Dunn maybe joining RB now. Maybe he's going to be joining the Red Bull stable at least. He may be doing another season in F2 before maybe evaluating whether he joins the RB team. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Right, session will resume at 47 minutes past, which is currently less than a minute's time. So we are still going to get 13 minutes here of FP2. And hopefully that means 13 minutes of push laps, guys. Let's see. Let's see. Aaron, how about you do one? Bye. Who do I think will qualify top two? Top three? I do think it's going to be a McLaren 1-2 and Max third. I think Max is still going to have the advantage over the Ferraris and the McLarens. I mean, maybe Charles could mix it in there. I do think Charles could mix it in there. I mean, maybe I'm doing a disservice to Lewis as well, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have any confidence in Ferrari anymore, guys. If you've been in these watch-alongs for the majority of this season, you will know, or even in the last few races, you will know there is little faith in Ferrari. So, I just banned him. You can't actually ban people when it comes to you can't actually ban people when it comes to YouTube. I think you can put them in timeouts and stuff, so I've done that. So I think as a human we should respect humans more, not some stupid dog. Now. Oh, Leclerc will be investigated after the session. Unsafe release. Oof. No mods at the moment, unfortunately, Camo. I'm here on my own. Friday afternoon, you know. I think Ferrari just wasted Charles Leclerc's potential. Yeah. Potential. I mean, well, yeah, they are, actually, aren't they? There's no ums and ahs about it. They most definitely are wasting it at the moment. They most definitely are wasting it. We've spoken about Ferrari countless times and the issues they've got. Am I a dog guy? I am a dog guy, yeah. I'm also a cat guy. So I'm both. 60k subs will be your birthday gift. Yeah, unfortunately, it would be 60k subs tomorrow, but as I said, I'm not here, unfortunately. I'll be here for the race on Sunday. Right, so Leclerc is out on a brand new set of softs, and I no doubt Lewis Hamilton will be as well. So come on, guys, let's see some push laps. Let's see some proper push laps here. Verstappen is out as well on the same set of softs he was on when that flag came out. So we won't see the quickest times that they can possibly do because some of them have already done half a push lap or whatever on these sets of tyres, but we will get a good indication of where the teams are. If they get clean laps, it is, of course, Singapore. It can be a very busy circuit here. Not many areas, of course, to overtake. So, yeah. Luna fans unite. Yep, Luna. Thank you, Rama. Much appreciated. It's hammer time for Lulu. Yeah, we'll see how he fares. But I mean, the thing is, though, let's be honest. Lewis Hamilton's performance on a Friday doesn't matter anymore, does it? Doesn't matter. Because Lewis could literally be a full second ahead of the rest of the field in FP1 and FP2. And they would still change that setup to the Saturday. And he would F it up. So do not take Lewis Hamilton's pace on a Friday as gospel for anything anymore. So, to be honest, Imran, I avoid those sort of topics of conversation. We talk F1 politics here and that. So, yeah, it's not really the channel or the stream for those topics of conversation. I appreciate your sentiment, but yeah, it's not really what we do here. Oh my God, who has gone off there and brought out a yellow flag? Bortoletto. Thankfully, Oscar Piastri wasn't on a push lap, so it hasn't affected the McLaren driver's push lap here. But we are seeing lots of lockups. So, Ferrari is such a disorganised team, it seems. Unfortunately, yeah. But Fernando Alonso's going well. Again, he's improved, Fernando Alonso. He is rapido in that first sector. Absolutely rapido. 26.8. We'll keep an eye out, of course, on the quick boys, the guys who we are focusing on in this championship battle, which is Piastri, Norris and Verstappen. And, well, Verstappen, in that first sector, is nearly 2 tenths down on Fernando Alonso. Oh, my God. He is much quicker in the middle sector, though, I think, at the moment. No, actually, he hasn't even gone through a second. I was looking at Fernando Alonso's time there. So 38.253 for Alonso in the middle sector. And, well, that time that Verstappen lost on Alonso in the first sector, he has regained in that middle sector. So it's neck and neck between them. It's a 30.877. A purple for Alonso in the first and last sector. Let's see what Verstappen can do, shall we? He navigates his way through turn 17, where we've seen a couple of drivers already make contact with the barriers there already. Makes his way through turn 18 and 19. How does Verstappen fare? And, well, oh my God, 0.02 of a second quicker than Alonso. Alonso, stop it. Stop it, Alonso. 44 years old. Oh, my goodness. So, have I just seen what happened in the pit lane between Norris and Leclerc? They just hit each other, did they? Oh, my goodness. Lance Stroll up there into P3, but he's half a second off of his teammate. Alonso is cooking. He's cooking, ladies and gents. We'll see how Charles Leclerc gets on as he starts his lap. Finishes his lap, up into P5. But maybe he's got damage from contact with that of Lando Norris, but 6 tenths down. Lewis Hamilton at the moment, slow laps from him, slow lap here, so he's backed off. Lewis has backed off. How about Piastri and Norris? Slow. They are on used tyres. I think they've caught traffic, to be fair to them. Norris of 30.7 in the first sector. So yeah, they've caught traffic. Or they've had or maybe they're going again. And Piastri's pushing again. So Piastri slowed down and is going again. So is Norris. So we'll see how they fare. Of course, this isn't as quick as they possibly can go because they are on used tyres. Their initial push laps were interrupted with that red flag by Liam Lawson. Kimi Antonelli is on a set of mediums. So he is saving a set of softs. He is not pushing anymore. As Lewis has come into the pit. So Lewis bowing out of his push lap, it seems. He's bowed out. He's not going to go for any more, which is a shame. Or maybe he's coming in to take... Oh, big lock up there from Gabby from what we saw earlier on. Very quickly turn. Liam Lawson in the pits. As we know, he is out of this session, as is George Russell, it seems, as well. George Russell not able to get back out there with that front wing damage and maybe some more internal damage, but we are not seeing. Carlos Sainz going for another push lap, it seems, as well. Is Verstappen going to go for another one? We'll see if he does. But Fernando Alonso, he is really the story here on this Friday, is that he topped FP1 and he's P2 with only 5.5 minutes or so remaining in this FP2 session. Aston Martin. I mean, look, they could be running. There's so many reasons as to why Fernando Alonso could be where he is. I am just going to bring it down a bit, guys. I'm going to bring that hype down a bit. That's what we do here. We're a bit realistic. He has probably got not a lot of fuel in the car. He's probably got the engine mode turned up in relation to Oscar Piastri, who's just gone fastest there over 30.7, and Max Verstappen as well. So, yes. But I think what is undoubtedly the case right now is that the Aston Martin is the best of the rest. And, well, maybe, like we've seen the Williams do countless times this season, mix it with the likes of Ferrari and Mercedes. So we'll see how they fare. Yuki only goes P9, 9 tenths, nearly a full second off of Oscar Piastri at the moment. Carlos Sainz is improving, a green middle sector for him, 38.4, but it's not that quick in relation to what we just saw Yuki do. So unless he does a really quick last sector, but he's on used tyres. Verstappen is not improving either. So yeah, it does seem like really they only have one push lap on these set of tyres. We are on the C4. We're on the C3, C4, C5 here this weekend. No C6 tyres. So we are still on the softest end of the scale. C6 not suitable for this track, it seems, with how long it is. So yeah, we are still on the softer end. And these soft tyres seem to only really have one proper quick lap in them. So. Can we stop with that chat, please? Do I think the Singapore pole record will be broken tomorrow? What is the pole record? Oh, sorry, the pole record is in the fastest lap. Probably. If it's dry conditions, yeah. As we've seen so often this year, the lap times have been... There's only been a few tracks where the lap record hasn't been broken. And I think, we saw it at Monaco be broken. We've seen it at Spa. Like, we've seen some lap records absolutely just fall this season. 2024, let's have a look. Singapore last year, pole position was a 1:29.5. So that puts in perspective where we are in relation to the quickest lap times that these drivers can go. So they've still got easily over a second in the tank here when it comes to push laps. Chance of Max breaking his winner's curse here this weekend. There are definitely chances for sure. I do think he needs something to occur between the McLaren drivers for him to capitalise on. I'm only going from my logic. We could turn up. He could turn up tomorrow and maybe he outqualifies them and he wins the race from start to finish. There is that possibility, of course there is. But I think this is just a McLaren track. I think just they will be dominant. I do think that over a duration of a race here at Singapore, especially, I think the McLarens, let's say they are outqualified by Max, I think the McLarens, as soon as they get clean air, they would be able to get ahead of Max. Whether Max pits first or whether they do the undercut, I think they would be able to get ahead of Max. So, but it would make it interesting if Max does qualify in pole position, wouldn't it? That's for sure. Hey, Andy, good to see you, mate. No, exactly, Daisy. Look, we like to... Well, yeah, we have a bit of banter here, guys. Of course we do. We can have a bit of banter. It's sport, after all, but we'll keep it fair and respectful, okay? Anything achievement of him is now met with, he probably had an extra cube of sugar put in his coffee. No, we're just being realistic. An Aston Martin up there in P3 there's probably circumstantial reasons as to why that is. Or logical reasons, not circumstantial, logical reasons as to why the Aston Martin is up there in practice. And we've seen it so often. I mean, Hadjar's just gone second fastest. As good as a season Hadjar has had this year, he is not a tenth slower than Oscar Piastri in that McLaren over duration of a lap here. And that is still, and Oscar Piastri's fastest lap there, 30.7, is still still over a second, 1.2 seconds behind pole position lap of last year. So there is plenty in the tank still for these cars, which are on average a second quicker than last year's versions. So can Verstappen win this race? Why he struggles in Singapore? I don't think Verstappen has particularly struggled in Singapore. He has just had some poor misfortune in Singapore. You have to remember, he's been taken out at the start of the race when he qualified on the front row, or in P3 that time, remember? Was it 2017? Something like that it was. With the two Ferraris. He's come here and the Red Bull just hasn't really been in a decent window when it comes to when they've been in their dominating era. So I just think I don't think he himself has made mistakes here. It's just the car hasn't operated well here. There's a yellow flag briefly for a lockup for Esteban Ocon, it seems, or Alex Albon, maybe that was. So yeah, I think he could. I think he could definitely win this race here this weekend. Am I a Ferrari fan? Not really. No, I wouldn't say I'm a Ferrari fan. I would say I've always kept an eye on them and stuff. Like when I was growing up watching, Schumacher was the dominant force, of course, and I did like Schumacher. But as I've got older, I've liked other drivers. I'm more closer to drivers, really. Which rookie has impressed me this far so much this season? I mean, can you say? I think they all have to some extent, really. I think when you look at it, they've all had their moments. I think the best performing rookie is undoubtedly Isaac Hadjar, but Bortoletto has had some brilliant performances and spells this year. So has Ollie Behrman. So has I think Kimi has impressed me as well. I know he's got a lot of flack recently And I know it's because he's in that Mercedes, did a whole video on it, but I think Kimi's season, when you actually sit down and you look at it, hasn't actually been poor by any means. I think there's a lot to be positive about in Kimi's season this year. Lawson technically is a rookie as well. He's been on a good run of form. Obviously, we spoke about him on stream and we clipped that down into a video. So I think, is there any other rookies out there I'm missing? I don't think so. So I think, yeah, I think it's been a very positive year for the rookies. I don't think there's any of them that have, like, other than maybe Colapinto, but then Colapinto has joined in a team, in a team that is kind of not very good, is in a car not halfway for the season, but you know what I mean, like at a point in the season where he hasn't had pre-testing and stuff, so very much under pressure there. So yeah, I think all of them really have a lot of positives to take from their first season. So are Max, Oscar and Carlos testing long-run performances with the softs? They would be afterwards, yeah. It does seem like with this checkered flag now thrown, guys, that is the end of FP2 session. A very interrupted FP2 session with 2 red flags through George Russell making connection with the barriers and losing his front wing into turn 17. And then Liam Lawson hitting the barrier on the exit of turn 17 where we saw Piastri hit the wall in FP1. It does... I mean, there are mistakes out there. There are definitely mistakes out there. I think we're going to see that in qualifying tomorrow and definitely the race on Sunday with maybe some rain in the air. Depends on which weather report you look at. They're all kind of saying different things at the moment. But yeah, it is shaping up to be a good... I mean, I still think, other than that lap time there from Piastri, even then, that's not really that representative, I would say. That's still... some way off the fastest lap, but the fastest times we know they can set here. So I don't think we've seen the best. We definitely haven't seen the best from Verstappen and the McLarens. I mean, Hadjar up there in P2. With respect to Hadjar and Alonso, the fact of it they're up there in between the McLarens and Max does just indicate really how kind of not a normal representative session this FP2 has been. So probably due to the crashes and the stoppages that we've had here. So Ollie and Kimi would be future champions. Lawson isn't built for F1. Bold claim there. I disagree, personally, about Lawson. Not Ollie and Kimi, but I think Lawson. Do I think, Dan, that FIA could incentivise drivers to perform more competitively during practice and qualifying? For example, half a point for FP2. I saw something, actually, from... I like practice being just left as it is. I don't think you need every single session over a race weekend to mean something. And to be point scoring and so forth. But I did see that James Vowles, he made a comment this weekend, and I thought, do you know what? Actually, it's quite probably pertinent. He said, with no doubt, something along the lines of, with no doubt, more races being added to the calendar in the future. How about we just go to a 2-day weekend? So you have one practice session on the Saturday, straight into qualifying, and then the race on Sunday. Now, if there was a sprint race weekend, maybe it's just like, I don't know, maybe there's an extra session on the Saturday for practice, and then you've got sprint quali and sprint race. I don't know, but he just said like, oh, just spitballing. And I was like, do you know what? I reckon that might be what happens in the future. Maybe that's what happens in the future, is where there is just two. It is just a weekend thing. It is just a Saturday and a Sunday, and there's one practice session and so forth. So we'll see. There's a lot of teams under pressure after this session, and you look at where some of the teams are. There's been a few little disasters today. Yeah, no doubt. There's probably still some dialing in of setups. But yeah, I mean, over a single lap, it might make it an interesting qualifying. The fact of it, no one's really been able to get a proper decent lap in there. Oscar's got the quickest, but I would say that's probably not even that decent lap. So let's as a representative, let's have a look at last year's FP2. Okay. So last year's FP2 session, guys, bearing in mind last year's pole position was a 29.5. Last year's fastest FP2 session, a 30.7. 130.727 to be exact. So you're talking literally like 1/100th of a second slower than this year's. So there is, and these cars we know are a lot quicker than last year's. So yeah, I think there's definite improvement out there, and this order is definitely going to be shaken up over into tomorrow. So sector times, yeah, I can show you sector times before we leave. So Alonso there, fastest in sector 1. Seems to be really hooking it up, that Aston Martin, and that's important for the Aston Martin in particular, because I mentioned the 3rd and 5th corner are so important on this track, because the primary overtaking spot here is down into turn 7. So if you can get good traction out of turn 3 and turn 5, and you're fast in that first sector, you're going to be very difficult to overtake, and it's going to make your life a bit more easier to overtake those ahead of you as well. And then, of course, the 2nd and 3rd sector, he's not too shabby in the 3rd sector at the moment. Norris was quick in the 1st sector, lost a bit of time in the 2nd, and the last sector he lost a lot of time there, 25.899. So not sure what happened in relation to it, but not looking too deep into it. And yeah, the rumours that Alex Albon has a chance to be at Red Bull next year. I mean, maybe they'll sign him up. I mean, there's been rumours, of course, of Hadjar. Nothing. I don't think anything has really been sealed yet. I think those seats for the 2nd Red Bull seat and the 2 RB seats, I think they're going to go down to the end of the season before they really make a decision, to be honest with you. I think with how close, where it seems Lawson is obviously back on form, Hadjar, we know, has been very consistent. They probably want to see how Arvid Lindblad does over the next couple of F2 races. I don't know how many races there are left of F2. And of course, they've got Alex Dunn as well, who's just announced he's left McLaren. So maybe they're assessing moving Alex Dunn into one of those RB seats instead of Arvid Lindblad. So yeah, lots to still, and of course Yuki. Don't ever rule out Yuki, but I do think, unfortunately, with that Honda connection ending with Red Bull, I do think that relationship is coming to an end, unfortunately. So, Jarvis, thank you for the gifted, by the way, buddy. As always, you always dive in at the end with a gifted. Why am I not streaming tomorrow, Imam? So for those of you who are here who have, didn't tune in earlier, I will put a community post out. It is my daughter's first birthday. It is baby Stuffey's first birthday tomorrow, so I'm sure you can understand. Yes, I will be spending some quality time with her. We have a little party going on, a gathering happening with friends and family. So, yeah, that's my priority tomorrow. I will, of course, be on the sly, checking my phone to see how the qualifying gets on. I will probably do a reaction video to qualifying when I get home tomorrow and everyone's tucked up in bed. If I'm not tucked up in bed myself, because it could be a long day. But yes, we'll be live, as always, an hour before the race begins. I may even go live a little bit earlier so that we can chat for longer to make up for missing tomorrow. But yes, Sunday I'll definitely be here. The live stream is up already. You can bookmark that. And, of course, be sure to turn your notifications on. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Project Lily Verstappen. So, yeah. AM has actually been doing not bad this weekend so far. Yeah, exactly, Jarvis. I predicted them. If you listen to my preview, this is a sort of track, high downforce package, high downforce circuit. That's where McLaren is going to come strong, just like they were in Hungary, just like they have done at Imola as well. This is a circuit where they are going to be the midfield team to beat for sure. Williams definitely have to be looking at them this weekend, but don't ever rule out RB. Don't ever rule out RB. So, yeah, we'll see how they fare. No doubt Liam Lawson's car is absolutely fine to be repaired in time for tomorrow. And they go at it again. So yes, guys, pleasure as always. Thank you for tuning in. As I said, not here tomorrow due to my little one's birthday. I hope you have a lovely rest of your Friday. Have a great Saturday tomorrow. Don't miss me too much, all right? Don't miss me too much. And yeah, we will catch up early before the race begins on Sunday. So have a lovely one, guys. And we will see you on Sunday for hopefully a very intriguing Singapore Grand Prix. See you then. Bye. Oh, that's the wrong flag.